to here and signing a contract and paying rent when I don't have that income. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like really like faith-based on that and like pushing myself into growth, right? Like we want to be comfortable being uncomfortable within reason, right? Like in like terms of like what we're doing to promote prosperity for ourselves, you know, like again, physically, mentally, spiritually into that aspect.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to Straight to the Bag, the show that has real fighters with real wins. And today I have two dope people that are in the gym literally every time I'm in here. But
try to be.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves and like let them know what you do.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Lexi. I am a coach here at Self-Made Training Facility here in Columbus, Ohio. I've been coaching women, almost a little over 3 years.
4 years.
Yeah, is it almost 4 years?
Pretty dang close. Like,
It's 2018?
I started in November 2018, so like.
So coming up on.
Yeah, and like, and how I got into coaching is completely different compared to Andrew's. But no, I focus in on functional training and strength training, primarily for women, but we do have some pickles. I have Lexi Logic. You'll get to know this. But pickles are men. Yes, pickles are dudes, by the way, because they have pickles. It's fine. But yeah, what's up?
Yeah, and I'm Andrew. I'm a trainer here at Self-Made Training Facility, Columbus. I've been doing strength and conditioning for athletes, and I have all my adult clients as well. But I love focusing on the athletes. I've been doing that now since 2015, so 7 years at like 3 or 4 different places. But yeah, I started my business here in 2019, July. So I think I came right before you came in, honestly.
Yeah, I think you were one of the first people I met here actually.
Probably because we both have dope. Because we both have dope names. That's why. But no. So I focus with a lot of athletes, strength and conditioning. But then with all my adults, I treat them like athletes too.
So how did you decide on that? Like, how did you know it was athletes?
So I went to school, graduated from Ohio State, with like basically it's long story short, exercise science degree. And I told myself I want to be a physical therapist. And so I came out of college and I'm like, I need a year off. Like I'm not going back to school right now. And then I was like, I need an internship or something to do, like besides just, I used to work at a restaurant. I was like, I need something to do just besides working at a restaurant. And I got an internship at the first gym that I worked at. That place was called D1 Columbus. Rest in peace. That place I heard was just shutting down. So,
yeah, I think I did just see that. It was, up north, right?
Yeah,
yeah, 23.
Yeah.
So when I walked in there, I already had a buddy that interned there before, and I walked in, I was like, hey, I'm just looking for an internship for something to do. And the guy there, his name was Chuck Gresham. He was like a mentor to me. He looks at me, he's like, well, I need someone to help me with my NFL Combine athletes. And I was like, all right, like sign me up. Like, what do you need me to do? So I worked with 4 NFL guys through their combine prep training. So doing like 40s and bench press tests and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And at that moment, it like clicked. I was like, I don't want to be a physical therapist because you hear so many horror stories about people that want to work with athletes all the time. Yeah. And they end up just working, at, I guess a rehab center, I guess if you want to call it, like adults that are going back into the working world and they're unmotivated to do that. And I was like, man, working with like these high-end athletes that are all motivated to get better, to do something bigger was just, I was like,
more fun.
It's thrilling, honestly. So yeah, and then at that point I was just like, you know what, maybe physical therapy school, like school in general, I was good at it, but it was like just a bore to me, I guess you can say. I love learning more, but like being in school where it's like, do your homework by this time, you need this, doing this, doing this, doing, was just like, was just not my way to go. And like, yeah, ultimately I was just like, you know what, I'm not going back to school. I'm going to just try to ride this out. It was pretty cool.
So this was before you graduated?
No, this was right after I graduated. Right after I graduated. So, yeah.
So Lexi, how did you get started?
Oh gosh, well, I had a 9-to-5 job, big into wine. I was with my wine company for just over 4 years, and it was like a small company. It was a direct relationship that we had with wineries, so there was no third party. So that's where we just got that wholesale price, really boutique-y, just small vineyard, family-oriented, organic farms that we would work with.
Okay.
And I was boxing on the side, so like fitness was still part of my life, but that wasn't something that I was pursuing. So for a mindset check, just to kind of go over it with you, very limited. Like it was just my mom and I for the longest time.
Okay.
Always lived in an apartment. At one point, we were in a shelter home.
Wow.
Not for like a long time.
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks or anything, something like that. But it's like it's always like we were working to make ends meet. So don't come from family. I started working under the table in 8th grade, just because I had to pay for my school sports, my lunches, clothes, makeup. And granted, like, don't get me wrong, like my mom would help out with what she could, but like we're not well off in that aspect where, you know, I would wear the same pair of jeans 2 days in a row, and like in high school, like I get made fun of, like, oh my gosh, like that girl. Like I was not popular.
Why she didn't have many friends? She smelled bad.
I don't smell bad. I had that love spell Victoria's Secret all over. No, I'm good. But no, like, so like my background story just like was like when I was going to work was that same thing. Like I just have to make ends meet. So, you know, when
What were you doing in 8th grade?
Working
like
at a wine
I was like
company.
a hostess. No, yeah. Gosh, no. Yeah. I was not working at a wine company. I was just sneaking all the bagels or something in my mouth. I don't know. So anyways, when I first moved to Columbus, I was going to school for broadcasting.
Right.
So first time like coming, like small town, moving here, saved up like, for me, like it was a lot, like 3,000, like that fresh, like 20, going on 21 years old when I first moved down here, like baby. So going to school for broadcasting, because that's what I wanted to do. So I interned for like the Columbus Clippers. I ran cameras. I was with Loper and Randy in the morning. So 997 The Blitz, I was an intern with them. And, you know, I graduated, did that. Wasn't doing anything fitness related in my life. So I was just kind of like stuck. I didn't know, I couldn't like get a job. So I was just like serving at the time.
Right.
One of my good friends who used to work at Title Boxing Club, he managed the one up in Polaris. He's like, hey, I need help with some sales. You want to jump on board? I'm like, cool, I need the extra money. And so at that old Polaris club, we had a lot of amateur and pro fighters. So this is like 2013 when I just got introduced into boxing.
Okay. And
that just spun off, and like how I just got wrapped up in boxing and really taking my time to learn. It took me about 3 months just to like hit mitts and like learn, like after, you know, taking classes of course, but like working one-on-one with mitts, repetitive drills, like where I then started honing in on my own fluidity with boxing, and where that just kind of transferred over. Like when I was with Vanguard, I was also still coaching boxing at
wine company, by the way, Vanguard Wines.
Vanguard Wines, yes, sir.
We can
I'm so
put two and
sorry.
two together.
I am not a good storyteller.
It's like,
That's why I'm here.
Thank you, appreciate you. But no, so following up all the way up to Vanguard Wines, 2016, 2017, where I was like coaching at 3 clubs, 2 title boxings and 1 local boxing club here in Columbus.
that was full time?
Full time for Vanguard, but then like part time into all my boxing. So it was like Polaris, Grandview, and New Albany. That like I have
like pop in for like a couple hours and you're out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So the company was really small and they were downsizing. So unfortunately, because I never went into broadcasting just because I got so caught up in, you know, making ends meet, but like still like following like boxing, like where I just like loved it so much, where I just kind of like out the door kind of thing, even though like it's something that I really wanted to do because I love to talk.
Yeah.
But you know, it just didn't follow through. So when I was let go, I was going through a really hard time of where I had a friendship and roommate breakup, like where like it was just excess things like that were just like not going through, on top of losing my job, where
All at the same time. Oh, okay, I see.
all at the same time, where Wes reached out to me. He's like, hey, like you look like because no, sorry, I'm so sorry. I reached out to him.
Okay.
I was like, wait, he reached out to you?
No,
Like,
I reached out to him because I had questions because I was working.
I'm like, man, I feel a lot less special now.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. No, I apologize. Yeah, I reached out to Wes because I wanted to ask questions because, again, I just had boxing. And that was my income because I was paying a full rent by myself and, you know, I just didn't have any sort of income. Like, and I'm like freaking out because, again, I'm in that stress mind factor of I just need to make ends meet. I need to make ends meet. Like, that's like how I grew up. Yeah. And that's like how like that displayed into my livelihood as a young adult. So talking with Wes and everything, he's like, just basically told me to give it my best shot. And like, you know, I just have to be all in. So, you know, without extra money, like, and just getting like $20, $25 for my boxing sessions that I would have to drive to, like that was all my income. That's all I had. And then, you know, paying rent here with 0 clients.
And they don't.
And here,
what did they give you, like a month off first when you start?
It was like, yeah, it was like
something.
Yeah.
not even like
I forget.
Or is it just like,
I mean, it was a really low number. Yeah. And then like it progressively got like bigger and bigger until like it was full rent into that. And again, so building from the bottom up of like, because I had people that I coached, but I didn't like have actual like people that I was training one-on-one. So starting from the ground up is how I got here.
Dang. So that's
a little bit different.
I mean, I think it's dope because I know what you've built so far. Because I was in a mastermind with you, and I so much like Eddie would share. You'd be like, Lexi this, Lexi. I'm like, okay, well, she's doing something,
right?
And she's just killing it. So I kind of know more about Lexi. But then, okay, so when you were at D1, what took off after that to like make you come here?
So when I was at D1, it actually wasn't right here right away. So I was part-time at D1, getting paid by like the class that I taught, you know. So and it was like extremely long days. Like I was younger at the time. And so I would teach like 5 classes a day. You'd start at 5 in the morning. You might train at 5 and 6. You got a break. You train at 9. You got a break. You train at noon. You got a break. You train at whatever, maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I lived down in Grandview. And driving the whole way up there, like every hour basically, I was like, well, I can't drive up here every hour. So I would literally spend from like 5 in the morning to like 8, 9 o'clock at night sometimes in the gym.
Stay up there.
Yeah. So the thing was, you're staying in there that long, but you're getting paid for maybe 4 hours of it.
So what are you doing with the rest?
So just lifting. Like I was young at the time. They weren't really big on having you promote your own business to train athletes and stuff. And then, so then if you're trying to promote that and then they see all these classes that these kids can take and everything, it was like, oh, well, why would I pay you, you know, 65, 70 an hour, which was their going rate at the time, when I could just pay $10 and he could, or, you know, per class that he would come into, but he can come into class 5 times a week. And so during that whole thing, I was like, you know what, like I need to go find a spot that I can actually make money, like have a salary or like at least full-time hours where it was like I was getting paid for all the time that I was there. So right across the street here, there was a place called Powertrain Sports and Fitness. It's right next to where there's a new karate or something studio over there right next to Habaneros and Contact Us. And where the trampoline park is. There used to be a Powertrain Sports and Fitness there. And I ended up applying for a position and got a job as a coach there, but they gave me salary. And it was full time, and I was like, yeah, done. It was very low salary, but I was like, done. At least I'm getting paid this amount of money. So I built my way up over there and eventually was running that facility.
Wow.
And then they shut down.
How long was that?
Oh, I was there in 2016 to 2019. So about 3 years that I was there. So I started off for about a year where I was just coaching there and stuff. And then eventually, you know, everything played out to where I was running that facility. And I ran that facility for about a year or so, and then we shut down over there. Like just closed. Literally, we found out a week before we were shutting the doors that we were shutting the doors.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so went through that whole process. We closed down, and I was already, like I told you, it was a low salary. I was already living paycheck to paycheck over there. And that was like, wait a minute. I have all of these clients over here. That need somewhere to train and go, and I have relationships with all of them now. I've been training you guys for how long? We had like 4 or 5 coaches because that's where Dan came from. It's where I don't know, Josh Ray. Do you know who Josh Ray was? Yeah, so he was over there.
Oh,
So we all came over here and kind of divvied up. Like it was like one of those situations where we were like, let the client choose who they want to go with, and then that's that.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I went from like making like living paycheck to paycheck to all of a sudden I was like, shit, I don't have an income. And then it was
built already.
Yeah, this place was already open. So I think they opened here in 2018, right?
Yeah, so 2018, I
Right.
think the soft open was like October, but I started in November.
Okay. Oh, so you're like one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I came over in July of 2019.
July. Okay. That's wild.
It was crazy though because like I'm not gonna lie, it was the best thing that happened to me. At the time, it was like, oh man, I don't have a job. What the hell am I gonna do?
It's like
You
a
know,
blessing in disguise, literally
well,
a
I'm
blessing.
calling my parents, and you know, they're giving me all this advice, like, well, just go work the 9-to-5 business job, go find something somewhere, go back to a restaurant if you have to. And I was like, I can't do that again. Like,
See,
as
I
I'm
had
getting
the opposite.
as I'm getting older, I'm like, I can't do this again. Well, my parents grew up very conservative, so it was like.
not even like.
Yeah, I didn't go to
Yeah,
my mom, though.
my dad works at a factory,
sense.
like a where he's like a painter at a factory, right? And he's been
Wow.
doing that his whole life,
Yeah.
you know, between different places. But like, it's a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah,
He gets a
exactly.
paycheck each week.
And they
My
have the
mom's
best in town.
a bank teller, so it's like
Wow, really?
9-to-5 job. You know, gets
Yeah.
paid every week. So it was like one of those. They looked at me and they were like you just need to go get a 9-to-5 job. And I was like, it's not for me. I don't think I could ever go back to working a 9-to-5
Yeah.
job. And so yeah, I was like, well, guys, sorry, I'm starting my own business, and thankfully, obviously, it all worked out. But
Yeah. What did they say at first?
no, they were scared shitless. It was bad. Like my mom's calling me like every other day. How you doing?
Oh my
What's
goodness.
going on over there? And
That is her.
you know how my mom
That is her.
And so it was like every other day. How are things going? This and that. Yeah. And the blessing of it all, I will tell you, is that I was able to bring the majority of my clientele from Powertrain.
Wow.
So when I came over here and started off, it was like a night and day difference. The hours that I worked, it was all for me.
Yeah, you literally made it yourself.
And honestly, like, you know, I have a very good retention rate with all my clients.
Right.
And so to have them all come over and like train with me, it was like not skipping a beat with training. It was just now I'm running my own business.
Yeah.
So
How was year one for you?
year one was not bad. Gosh, if I can remember from 2019, I don't know. I don't have an exact number on it, but it was more than what I think it was about.
Your salary was?
I think it was about almost 30 to 40 grand more than what my salary was.
Wow. That's very good.
So it was one of those huge eye openers. Like, just
Yeah.
like, man, I've been doing this for other people for so long, and I'm good at what I do. Like, not to sound braggy or anything,
Yeah.
but it's like I've been doing this for someone else for so long, just to constantly get yelled at, told what my schedule is, or you know, told to do better.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm doing it for myself and making a lot more money doing it.
Well, why do you think you stuck with it for that long? Because that was what, like almost over 6 years
I've been, yeah, so
before you
in,
even started your own training business.
Like
Oh, so
from
when I was
D1 to
at-
Powertrain.
from, so it's, so what, I grew up playing sports. That's the easiest answer,
Okay.
right? I grew up playing sports. I love sports. It's a huge aspect of my life. And, so when I was growing up, you know, I got recruited to play baseball in college. I got recruited to like little looks here and there to play basketball in college. But like I was decent at sports.
Yeah.
One thing that I never did was train. Like I never went to see a personal trainer. I barely ever touched weights. They would be like, you know, baseball team would be like, oh hey, we got, you know, optional lifting.
Yeah.
You know, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Ask me how many times I went to that. It was single digits over the 4 years of high school that I was there. So then when I started learning more about, you know, how athletes can get such an edge just to, even in high school, grade school, like I've trained kids as young as 10 and 11 with actual weightlifting. And so when I found out about that edge that they can get, I was like, you know what, I got to do this. Like, and I got to keep doing it because I've started living vicariously through them.
Yeah.
So like I had so many kids that I was associated with at D1 that were, at D1 that had D1 scholarships or had gotten D1 scholarships. And I don't think there's any better feeling than like, you know, I just had a kid, shout out to Blake Horvath, just committed to Navy to play football.
Wow, that's so
And it's one of those things, and you know, it's just like when you see an adult client drop 20 pounds for a wedding or something like that, and it's just that like you're like, man, I had a part of that. And these kids, it's just a different it's a different beast in a good way. It would be how I describe it.
Like
it's
training them?
Yeah. So it's like, I see these kids all of a sudden, I have kids that come in and see me that won't talk, won't say one word. And then all of a sudden you can't get them to shut up. And it's like, that confidence is from here, like to an extent, right? Like,
and that's just like them like developing as an overall kid, like over time.
Yeah. And it's really humbling to know how much of a part of these kids' like lives that you can have in it.
Yeah.
Like, not to take anything away from parents or anything like that, but like when these kids come to see me, I think they tell me some things that they probably have never told their parents before.
I'm sure.
So I think that's what kept me in it the entire time, is the relationships that I've built over a long period of time. Like, I've trained some kids since they were in, sophomore in high school, and they're in their senior year of college. And it's like, so I build those relationships, and you just crave that more and more.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many more people can I have this experience with, have this impact with? And it's like, it's one of those things. I don't think I've ever gotten bored of what I do.
Yeah, I think that's huge, because every time I see them here, you're like having fun with them. Sometimes you're yelling at them, but like,
I was gonna say, you know how it is though. Right.
I see them working so hard. Like,
Right.
Like, when someone's giving you their all.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I think they keep the kid in me alive too. They're all like little brothers and sisters, and then obviously like all my adult clientele are like, they're not clients anymore, they're friends. So it's like, it just that's the kind of, that's what it keeps you going, honestly. Like, if I didn't like any of my clients, I would not want to come to work every day to train. Like, so
sounds simple, but like, it's so easy to miss. But I want to like touch on community building for both of y'all, because I've noticed, like, especially you, Lexi, you have like this crazy relationship with your clients, almost like y'all are related. Like,
I don't know how it makes sense, but it does.
How do you do that?
Because everyone's so different. I mean, like, so like we're the Boo Boos, but we're also like known as like SFO. So like my Instagram handle is SFO Lexi. SFO stands for Strong, Fearless, and Original. So like just really embodying that, and because when I was in grade school and like up to high school, like, again, I was not popular, made fun of a lot, and like my energy is much more accepted, and where I can exude that a lot more to who I am. I'm a 30-year-old young adult compared to what I was going through when I was a teenager and everything. Like, I just wasn't accepted. So I think just like really embodying that in who I am, and my belief in like how, like, what makes me strong, what makes me fearless, what makes me original, because like we're also differently made, and like same thing like with different backgrounds, ethnicities, religions that we all have in our community. It just all freaking clicks. And I think it's just
weird sometimes. Like, I'll be looking on like Instagram or something, and I follow a lot of her clients. It'll be like, hey, how did these like two random
all the time
people meet? Like, both of them are her clients, and they're out like getting dinner or something together. And she was like, oh, they met in here at the gym. I'm like, you see that so more often with her clients than not, and it blows my mind sometimes. Like,
oh my gosh, it makes me so happy. It makes me emotional. But no, I think just like really diving in, that's like where being in the fitness aspect of this is such a metaphor into like how we correlate our personal lives and our career, our spiritual, personal. It all correlates, and like how we connect with ourselves. And like, again, like strength is going to look completely different for each individual. Same thing with our fearlessness. Like, we're going to have fear for us to hone in on us being fearless. Like, we're still going to push through, right? And that was a big step from going from zero income, basically, besides boxing, and like just signing on, like paying rent by myself at my own place, to then coming on to here and signing a contract and paying rent when I don't have that income. You know what I mean? So like really like faith based on that, and like pushing myself into growth, right? Like, we want to be comfortable being uncomfortable, within reason, right? Like, in like terms of like what we're doing to promote prosperity for ourselves, like, again, physically, mentally, spiritually, into that aspect. And just, I think that's like where kind of personal development like hones in all around with the Boo Boos, and why it just all clicks, because we're all so different. I'm introvert, like when I'm home, like I'm not all crazy all the time. I'm like,
we get out all of our energy in here, to say the least.
I'm like on like crack energy or something like that is what I've been told, but very hyper. But no, I think it's just like where each boo-boo like truly like sees one another for who they are, and it's that open connection and just honest honest communication that we have with one another that I think makes it so vulnerable for everyone to like open up and just be completely themselves in our bad and our good. Because again, we're gonna have mental health check days, right? Like not every lift day is gonna be a great day, right?
So you do have that. That's part of like your like procedures.
Yeah.
Wow. Hold on. The honest communication.
Yeah. Like I think
How do you initiate that? I guess the mental health thing.
I mean, mental health is so like. I mean, our procedures like we do weekly check-ins where we have like a questionnaire that everyone will fill out, and then we'll schedule up separate times with myself or my assistant coach, Coach Britt.
Like one-on-one calls?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And like where we kind of like dive in deep a little bit more, because like you can like, I'm not a mind reader, but like where I really think that one of my strong suits is like sensing something from someone, like, and I don't know what that is, but like just having
Energy.
like
just reading energy realistically.
That's how Sin is. I mean, I feel like I'm sitting there. I don't even know what she's talking about. She's like, you see, like what's going on. I'm like,
no.
No.
Yeah, that's the way I am. So it must be. I don't know.
No,
but it's like a superpower though. I wish I had it.
That and hugs. I'm really good at hugging. I love hugging.
Honestly,
reading people's energy and hugs. What are Lexi's two superpowers?
Those are my gifts that God has given me. But no, I think just like creating that space. I had perfect example. One of my boo-boos, she was struggling with one of her leg days where she was just had like some things happen. It wasn't like the greatest eating day for her, and like, but she was like getting like overly upset about X, Y, and Z, and like some of her mannerisms I've caught up on, and like I think it's like from like past trauma, and like I think all I said is like, listen, like you say this a lot, like when you get nervous, I think of something with your past. Just like hone in, take some time to belly breathe, and just like hone in and just to like calm down and everything. And like so she messaged me, she's like, and like this like what kills me, like doesn't kill me like in a bad way, but like why I love what I do so much is like where I get to connect with one and like each person that I have and like make that indent where I can have them so comfortable and feel so seen and loved or heard, like whatever that feeling may be for them, to feel like, wow, this is my home, like this community of women, and you know, Lexi, like I want to be a part of that, but like where they feel like so connected and grounded into that.
They're not just working out when they're here. That's the thing. So
no.
Long story short for that is like I think you just make people comfortable with who they can be. So then when you're comfortable with who you can be, you start to just open up like to even anyone around you. It's like if you're comfortable at like your job, you're going to start to get to know other people better. And I think that's like the big thing with her and her clients is like everyone that comes in, it might just be because you're super weird. So
it's so true.
The fact that she's so weird,
embrace it so much.
That's
oh
what
my
I'm
gosh,
saying.
and that's
so
like
other people can embrace it.
It's like, okay, now you can.
Yeah, and it's like
I don't have any. I mean, like no. I mean, you are so like used to me now too. You know what I mean? Like everyone like first coming in like just doing whatever weird shit that I'm doing, can look at me like, what the flip
it gets
is that?
worse than that, by the way. It gets a lot
Yeah,
worse.
I'm this is like toned down Lexi right
I don't
now.
even want to imagine what it's like from a perspective.
But no, but I think it's like where like, oh, it's just Lexi. Like, you know, like it just becomes like the aura and like where you're just like, cool. Like, and I don't connect with everyone. Like, I'm not everyone's person, you know, like inside or outside the gym. And like, that's okay. And again, like school's hard regardless. Like kids are like just mean. Like even like because I'm not perfect. Like I'm sure like I have not been my best self, but like in general, like where like this energy though, and like me being me was not like so much accepted.
Yeah, no, but I love that you didn't waver though, because like most people like would just end up like maybe pulling themselves back and adjusting to other people because they're not okay with like.
Yeah, and I definitely did that. Don't get me wrong, but I also think that I had like certain outlets of like where I was also a lot more comfortable with some people that I could be that with. But like when I got to college, again, it was a little more flamboyant than what I was used to, and like same thing like moving here, and I mean. I don't know. I don't know how you guys put up with it. Like, thank you.
No, I love it. I mean,
Do you ever see us in the gym sometimes when she's like doing her crazy shit, whatever it is?
yeah.
And then I'm like looking at her and just shaking my head. And it's like, well, I'm just so used to it by now. It's
Yeah,
just
no.
like,
Yeah.
all right, Lexi, go
like
for it.
But like he's also like he gets into his weird grooves though too. Like no,
I just hide it. I just hide it a lot better.
You have been way more.
Don't drop anything on here.
I'm
that shouldn't
not
be on
dropping anything. No, but like I've noticed, like you are a lot more relaxed too, and like
to an extent.
to an extent. But I'm just saying,
It's just that, like we talked
Like,
about, just getting comfortable with your
like he's
surroundings.
twerked in here.
Yeah.
Once, like once.
I believe it.
More than once.
You like have this, you make people adjust to you, and I think that's really the core of where everything comes from you. Which makes a lot more sense now to me because like every time I'm here, I'm like thinking about something, I'm trying to figure something out in my head, and then I feel like I got attacked by a velociraptor.
That's
You,
fair.
grab me,
Very fair.
and you scream very loud, and I'm like, it like pulls me out of my head. I'm like,
I should not make the noise on this microphone,
Do
should
not,
I? I
yeah,
almost
do
did. I
not.
didn't.
Please
Did you see my face?
We literally talked about this before we started.
I stopped. I remembered. I honed it in. I honed it in.
no, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So okay, year one. Did we talk about year one for you?
We did it. Year one was hard.
What did it look like? Do you remember gross wise?
Gross wise, I mean, it got better because I started November 2018, and again, this was like ground up from zero, of like where I was slowly like getting some boo-boos, and we weren't even the boo-boos at the time. My brand wasn't even established. I just know like, my LLC was like Lexi Wise Fitness. It was just not. It wasn't a thing until I started honing in like my Instagram handle. I'm like, what is like, why am I strong? Why am I fearless? Why am I original? Like, why is this my Instagram handle? And then
Those are the words that always stuck with you, or okay.
yeah. And then when we kind of like, in terms of like what I say, I'm like, hey, boo boo, like, it's just what made sense. And it's like, we're the boo boos. And like, so like with the logo, then it's like where I want us to like radiate. So this is kind of like that sunbeam, and like where I want everyone to kind of like share their sunbeam with everyone else though too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, right. Well, it's like we're like, you know, like the church isn't the church. Like we are the church.
Right.
Like it's the same embodiment. Like we are the boo boos. Like we are here to, like spread community, spread love and support, and just for everyone to be seen and heard.
That's
Don't forget about year one.
Oh yeah, but year one. So sorry. Gosh, I'm so bad.
This is what we have to do. I have to literally be like, hey Lexi, remember he asked you how year one went.
Sure was. Sure did. Gross profit, man. I don't know about gross profit, but I mean, I started off with like a lot of free sessions kind of thing, just trying to get traction.
Yeah,
And
you came from zero.
Zero.
Okay.
That was my full-time job. Yeah.
Do you remember how you got number one in the door?
I met her through Tidal. Like, so a lot of some traction came from like Tidal boxing, then like, cause I used to bartend way back when too. And like where I'd offer free sessions, like where I'd reach out like, hey, like I'm offering like free group trainings. Want to see like what your thoughts were, if you'd be interested, kind of thing. And like, and it just kind of progressed into that. And then, just like, hey,
Slippery
like,
slope. Like once one person does it.
yeah.
it
Like
just
word of
becomes
mouth
like
then like started happening, and then obviously like I am in a business mentorship still, where like I then growth tracked myself a little bit more on that. But I don't know gross income though. I mean, I would say
That was a long time ago.
it was a very long time. I want to say like 34 to 40 between there maybe.
Do you know what your best year is?
This past year.
This past year's been crazy.
Okay, saying how much it is.
I'll just say I'm above. Well, not above, but I'm at 6 figures.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Andrew? Same?
This year has been my best year by far.
So how long was it between first year and 6 figures for both of y'all?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, actually, maybe even less than that.
Yeah,
Well, I guess-
I mean, mine,
yeah,
like,
because,
it's been slowly on that climb more so. Because, like, I have good client retention, too, where I just have boo-boos that have stuck with me from, like, day one as well. And I think it's just, like, being, like, more comfortable in what I offer and, like, what that looks like and the quality of that. So, like, being, like, more confident in myself, into my business, and, like, what myself and what my team provides for our community of women.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, this was the first year that I hit six figures.
This is my second year.
This is her second year.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't
Did
even
it
know.
feel like 6 figures?
No.
To you, did it feel like 6?
No, well, because
Whenever all my finances and stuff this past year, I was like, holy, I literally called her, like called my parents, basically almost crying. Cause like, I mean, it's like, it's a big thing. It's a huge deal. Like to even think about like,
because it doesn't seem like a reality.
yeah, it's just like where you've come from, you know, the shit storm that you might've been through. And then it's like, wow, I did that because, you know, I don't have any employees or anything. And, you know, so I put all my energy and all my time, like what my business is outside of like my clients make my business, but like everything that I do, it's me. So it's like, it was very surreal to say the least. It was just like, they were blown away because remember, like I was telling you, it's like they were worried about me at first. They were just as blown away, like almost speechless to an extent. It's just like, because, you know, as a parent, I'm sure you're like, you know, when your daughter gets older, it's going to be like, you want to see them do better than you. You want to see them succeed. And not that this is a given for every year, you know how the business is, but it's like, my parents were finally able to be like, holy shit, like, look at you. Like, we know you were doing good, but like, you keep going. Right? And so.
Man, that's beautiful. I love that.
It was great.
For you, Lexi, what do you think like the number one thing was for you to hit 6 figures that took you there?
Number one thing, honestly, just commitment and just to keep pushing through, right? Like this is like trial and error kind of thing where you're going to have probably weekly or monthly lows, right? It just all depends. Right? And that's like where we have to have that abundance for that mindset to really push through, because you know
there's a lot of conversations about just breathing, calming down, and realizing that this might suck that this is happening, but how are you going to make it to this?
Right, because we have to have that constant mentality of back against the wall to keep pushing through, right? Because
you better give a shout out to Eddie too before I forget, Eddie, because Eddie helped you out a lot.
Eddie, Daddy Zang, love you so much. I appreciate you more than you can ever know.
if you don't say Eddie's name when he asks that question.
Names. But no, yeah. One of my great friends, he has helped me more than I could ever imagine, and just being like a great friend, and then also just like saying like I should apply for his business mentorship and like dive more in deep, like has just been like a huge game changer for not only like mentality, but also like for my business, and like where, you know, we're going to have like all those lows, like it can be like super simple or like it could be big, right? But like just to have that mind shift and work on the abundance of that has been the biggest game changer. And if something doesn't work, I mean, just like roll those punches, right? We want to be a solution creator, because it's like where we're rolling with those punches instead of like a problem solver, like where we're just going to fixate on that one thing, correct? Because it's got a lot more negative impact compared to like being a solution creator.
Right. I love that. That's I just don't want that to like go over anyone's head, because like I feel like people need to think about that one more. So what are you doing now? Like what are some goals you have now, like within the next year for both of you guys?
I think my ultimate thing is I want to get to a point where I can open up my own facility.
I love that.
It's really hard for me to. I shouldn't say it's hard for me to grow, because you know my business is going great right now, and I'm always accepting new clients. It's just more so how does it fit into the day? You know, like if you would look at me and say, hey, like I need to train at 5 p.m. It's like I got these people at 5 p.m. already. I can't just keep adding more into it. So I told myself one of the biggest things is I want to have, you know, coaches that train underneath me, but I'm an in-person trainer. And it's like, I want to have a facility that's set up for me, in a sense, for me. And just where I can set it up to optimize how I train my clients. You know, I train 3 or 4 athletes at a time. I could, realistically train 5 or 6, and then do more with my training if I had like, a bigger facility that is specifically set up for me, because this place is phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, with my athletes that I train, we have like a 15, 20-yard turf, and like,
can't even take off in the
so it's like, don't get me wrong, I get a lot of shit done that I need to, but it's like you said though, it's like, okay, let's go practice, running our 40s and stuff like that. And it's okay, you got 15 yards to run it on. But that's the next step for me. So I told myself within the next year, I at least want to be well onto the path of opening my own place, because there's a lot of things that come into that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can do that a bunch of different ways too. So
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of it's been, because I've been looking into a lot of that stuff already, and it's just so mind-boggling at times. Like it's overwhelming to an extent.
Yeah, no, it really is. I know exactly what you are feeling, and I don't want to go down that hole because we're gonna
let's not go down the hole. I could talk.
We'll have a part 2.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah. Lexi was.
Lexi's like,
now I'm thinking about like what I want.
And Lexi's over here like, we need a part 2 of this. We need to keep talking a lot more.
Because if I'm talking, gosh, I'll never. I'm so sorry. No. So I haven't envisioned in like having my own facility or anything like that, but I do envision having space to help other coaches. So like where it would be like basically a boo-boo takeover. No, but for real, a boo-boo takeover. Where take me seriously, please. It's just the name.
I just see bright yellow.
Please.
Bright yellow and peach logo.
Everywhere.
Add a splash of purple in there. Maybe no. But I envision like to create a culture of women who struggle like doing, because like this business aspect in fitness is like it's so in trends, which makes it hard to like find quality coaches. Which again, that's another thing that we can always get in.
Let's not get down that rabbit hole either.
But like where if someone like really wants this and they want to pursue in helping people, I would love to have them on board, like where we can have that like same thing community of women for our coaches that are gonna have like that business platform, but they don't have to do the whole business aspect.
Go through all the pains of running.
Correct.
Right.
So like because I want them to prosper in like how like I am able to pay my 2 people that I have on our boo-boo team right now. So I have my assistant coach, Brittany, and then my social media coordinator, but also my mental health advocate, Allie. Shout out. Where, they really help cultivate that community aspect where I want that to grow. Now, and that's like where I can just see this team of women. We could have, if we have pickles, we have pickles. It's not a big deal. Like, we're not anti-pickles. Throwing in some humor, but it's fine. Like, we're not against you, right? But like, we also just want to be seen and heard as powerful women. And where we can just show up for one another and like have that bigger platform, like where they have abundance of income as well, where that sets them up, obviously like financially, but like where it gives them that financial freedom to like pursue more. I can't talk. Yeah. I'm so excited. Pursue
you can't
more.
Talk?
I get excited. I stutter. I have random accents that come out of my mouth too. It's so weird. So yeah, I mean, that's my vision, but like right now we're working on like just quarterly goals and hyper focusing into those daily actions of X, Y, and Z of our quota and like giving ourselves that treat. So like, like if something that
the punches, right?
Yeah, but no, just like where maybe it'd be like a mini vacation, or like if you're not a really big, I don't know, like if you don't ever take massages, like whatever you wouldn't treat yourself to something normally, do that as a reward kind of thing. And like let that keep rolling, like wow, like I just
you're creating people's like dream job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. So
that's a crazy year,
you already have 2 people hired?
Yeah, I have an assistant coach. She is part-time right now because she also still has her other job right now until, because right now in-person roster is full.
Yeah.
And I think now, so like we're trying to shift over to online as well to help a lot more boo-boos. And that's where we're still building up Brittany's roster until we can have her full-time and where she can then quit her other job.
Oh, okay. And then she's gonna be training the online class.
Correct. So like she's still like training our not in person, our online boo-boos.
Okay.
And then Allie is there for like honestly like a lot of mental health advocacy and just like she's really great at opening up with people who struggle sometimes with that. And
how did you like see that quality in her, or did she just?
She's been almost one of my day one boo-boos. Like she was one of my OGs, and we had like a lot of good talks on just like simple things that she was accepting into her life that was giving her no prosperity. So she had like this person in her life that was cut out, but like not cut out, like where there was like still like feelings of like, of love, of course, but like it just wasn't serving her any purpose. Like where this person would just like keep bringing her down. Like, why are you allowing this? Like, what is this serving you? And like, I don't know exactly how I said that or whatnot, but like if something like registered and clicked, and like, cause like mentally, like she was just distraught, like where she'd just be run down constantly. Where something like resonated in her, where she like finally like just.
And broke through.
Kicked, like sorry, hand movement. You can't hear that, but maybe you'll see that. Because like I'm like moving my hands, I'm kicking my feet.
The camera's right there.
Okay, but like the podcast won't, like the audio.
Oh man.
I gotta make sure everyone's getting the picture.
Being thorough.
I'm so thorough, it's nauseating.
Very thorough.
Yeah.
No, but that
Lexi.
resonated with her, and like where like she's been doing her own research and like taking her own steps of like where like she has been a really great community leader of mental health in our community, like where we kind of like just given her that role. Like she's not like a professional by any means, but like it's like where like she can give advice and like pushes into like what people should look into.
But she has experience. So
she has experience, and like she's just a really great listener as well.
Sometimes
That's the best way, right?
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
More than having a piece of paper, more than anything. But
All right. What was I gonna say?
I'm sorry, it's my fault.
My mind is gonna go.
dude, my mind's already in left field. I'm so thorough with all your stuff. I love you, babe.
I love you too. You work so well.
Holy.
Let them know where they can find you guys at. If they're
gosh.
interested in training or coaching.
What is my Instagram handle? So we had this conversation. I don't use Instagram that much. I think it's the strength coach, _Z.
That's how you know it was built organically.
I think that's what it is. The strength coach _Z. I do actually respond to my messages and stuff like that. So that's.
He just won't like your pictures.
I just won't like your. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that's going to be honestly the best place to reach out to me. It's one of those things where if you ask me for my phone number, I'll give it to you right away. It's just that's the quickest way to reach out to me. But yeah, that's
Lexi.
Cool. I am on Instagram, SFO Lexi, LEXI. So you can DM me. You can also see in my link tree that if you wanted to apply for coaching, that's also another way that you can just kind of have questions to answer through if you struggle with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate everything with the.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. It's so nice.
It was a great experience.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Definitely, yeah, a lot more than I was expecting. So
I'm sorry for talking so much.
Awesome, though.
Great. That was literally perfect.
All right, man.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Probably like super wide angle.
Which is great for my face.
That'd be a lot different.
Lexi, say something.
Hit me.
Check.
Mine are dry too.
Check. Y'all say something.
Hello.
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 Pause.
Okay.
About 30 minutes.
I just my storytelling's not great. I'm like
She goes all
English literature was not my
if you can't
was not my
tell, she
subject.
goes all over the. There's a lot of times when we're talking, I'm going to be like, "Hey, Lex, you're supposed to answer this question."
And I'm like,
That's fair.
I'm sitting here like, did I forget to ask
That's what.
something?
That's why I was like, I'm gonna hone you back in here. Like,
Reel me
I
back
appreciate
in.
it. It helps.
Yeah.
Okay, so